So as you can see, the heretic continues to spread his false doctrine.
The heretic must be eliminated immediately.
Sounds like I dodged a bullet then.
Poison would be more accurate.
Well, hello, and welcome to the Tired Craftsman channel. I am your villainous host, the Tired Craftsman. Tinker of Terror was already taken by a throwaway line in Rick and Morty. Feel like I could have done a lot more with that. And this is my co-host, 22. You know, it's been a while since we've done a garage intro like this, right? Kind of feels a little weird after all this time. It's also really hot out here, which is why we haven't done them like this in a while, so let's try to make it quick. Tonight we're going to be crafting some spooky mad scientist equipment made mostly out of cardboard and foam. Why would a person do this? Well, maybe you need to throw together a spooky Halloween display. Maybe you need some props for your low-budget sci-fi film. Or maybe just sitting around science machines makes you feel smart. The possibilities are literally those. So let's get to it.
Alright, so for the base of these machines, I'm going to use some cardboard. God knows I got plenty of it lying around the shop. They're going to be mostly box-shaped, so I'm going to use a square to line up my straight edge and hopefully make them look somewhat competently constructed. We'll see. The first piece here is going to be folded to form the different faces, so I'm going to cut some really shallow lines that don't go all the way through. The point of that is to create some seams that I'm going to fold it on, and that'll make all the corners look a lot sharper. And I think that looks pretty good. And we're going to need some sides for this thing, so I'm going to glue down part of one side to another piece of cardboard and mark some lines so that the pieces should hopefully fit pretty tightly. Does that make sense? Just watch it, you know. Yeah, see, yeah, that's how you do it. Or at least that's how I do it. You don't have to do it that way. You might do it some completely different way. It's all fine. You know, creativity isn't about rules. Like, except for when it is, I guess. But doesn't matter. Yeah, after that's cut out, I just trace that face onto another piece, and our first base is done. After I glue the other side on, of course. Now, as mentioned, I want to build a few machines, so I'm going to cut out some more pieces and do basically the same kind of steps. You know, you don't really need to watch that over and over. Basically, we're just making boxes, and you can do it any way you like. And next, I'm going to skin them all in craft foam.
Wait, where is the foam? Well, that's annoying. All the stores got to be closed now, yeah? Yeah, I think we're gonna have to.
TC, baby!
Price. Thanks for stopping by. Hope it wasn't too much of an imposition.
Not at all, my friend. Taking your money is never an inconvenience.
Well, tactful as always. Did you bring the stuff?
Who's he talking to? Of course I brought the stuff. Here you go. 39 by 60, right?
Looks good. What's the damage?
$21.
You know, price, Joanne's charges $7 for this.
And if Joanne's was open, you could get it for $7. Come on, Craftsman. Don't you want to finish your project so everyone can see how cool you are?
Yes.
The price of convenience, I'm afraid. What? No tip? I'm just kidding. Wait, where are my manners? I never asked what you were working on.
Oh, just spooky lab equipment.
Seems like a pretty big build. You sure you got enough material? I'd hate for you to get halfway through the project and then run out. I got a few more rolls in the back if you want them. Tell you what, since we're such good friends, I'll give you 15% off. Make it 10.
I mean, it would be bad if I ran out.
Exactly. So why don't you take those off my hands? Plus, I'll sleep better tonight knowing that you got what you need.
Yeah, alright. Burned by my creative genius yet again.
Like a moth to the flame, baby. Come on, I'll help you unload these. So how's business been? You, do anything sinister lately?
Actually, lately it seems like I'm mostly on the receiving end of that.
Ah, sometimes you're the train, sometimes you're the damsel.
That's exactly what I told my roommate after he took some poison that was meant for me.
I remember my first poisoning. Never saw it coming.
You never do? You know what the crazy part is? It was made from Hydra's breath, which I didn't even know you could get that.
What?
Yeah, Hydra's breath. I didn't even know those things existed.
Yeah. Hey, I just remembered, I have a thing. Here, this one's on the house. Also, I'm gonna be out of town for a minute, so don't call me, I'll call you. Pleasure doing business with you, and good luck on your project.
Neat.
Anyways, where was I? Right, so cardboard's great for crafting with, but if you paint it, then the cardboard texture will show up in the finish, and we don't want that for something that's meant to be metal. So that's why we're going to cover it in foam. I used some Mod Podge to glue these pieces because it dries slow enough that you can work the foam around and get it nice and flat. It didn't work so great on the bigger pieces though. For some reason, some areas didn't stick right, so I ended up falling back on my old go-to glue, which is contact cement. I was hesitant because contact cement sticks instantly, so if you mess up, you're kind of screwed. But I took my time, and after that turned out alright, I went ahead and glued the other pieces with it too. The good thing though about contact cement though is, once it's on, it ain't coming off. Also, if you're ever going to use contact cement, do it in a well-ventilated area and wear a respirator. Also, wear some gloves, it couldn't hurt. I feel like that stuff making too much contact with your skin can't be great. So, yeah, just take all the precautions, it doesn't hurt. Next, I'm thinking I want to have some glowing parts on all of these, so I'm going to use a bunch of plastic bottles that I saved up specifically for this project. I don't just have trash lying around everywhere, okay? Now, I wasn't able to get all the labels off the backs of these soda bottles, but with what I have planned, that won't really be an issue. Also, they aren't quite tall enough for what I want to do, so I'm going to have to join two of them together, and to hide that horrible seam, I'm going to wrap some foam around it. And that'll make it look sciencey and machine-y and like it does something, right? Also, be careful when you're hot gluing plastic like this, as the heat from the glue can cause it to warp. Just be aware of that. Super glue probably would have been the smarter choice. We're not quite ready to add the plastic junk yet though, so I cut some foam to make some sockets for the plastic to fit into, and some strips just to give it some extra detail. I don't really know if old-timey science machines have strips like this, but I need to hide these seams somehow, plus I think it looks cool, so, you know, fuck it. I also thought it could be fun to have some panels here and there, and I used some Mod Podge for them because, you know, they're small pieces, so it shouldn't have a problem sticking, unlike the big ones. I also marked some spots to glue the sockets down, and I did not measure them, I just sort of eyeballed it. It's my project, and they can be crooked if I want. Also, let's just check the fit here real quick. And it looks good. So I'm basically going to be doing the same thing in one way or another for all of them. That's kind of the thing about making a few things the same way. The steps get repetitive, but it's good practice. Now, regrettably, I decided to put some levers on one of these, which is going to be a pain, but I think it'll be worth my suffering. For the handles, I used some wooden dowels, and pray to the gods that wood takes hot glue well, but only time will tell. Same with genetics. A lot of my day is consumed by thoughts of what ailments will present themselves as my DNA slowly degrades with the passage of time. Now, since I didn't plan this out well, I'm going to have to cut some slots for the levers at this stage, and it was really hard, and I needed to be up close, so I couldn't really film what I was doing because I had to see it, and I'm nearsighted. But I ended up just really taking my time with it, and it actually turned out a lot cleaner than I thought it was going to. Also, I knew from the start that I wanted one piece to be a glowy science ball, so I scuffed up a plastic Christmas ornament with some Brillo pads so that it would diffuse the light, and started gluing foam crap all over it to enhance the science-ness of its appearance. I started with hot glue, but quickly remembered its tendency to detach from plastic, so I switched over to some super glue. I might have gotten a little carried away with the details, but, you know, I think it looks pretty cool, and it took a very long time to tape up for painting. Speaking of painting, I first coated everything in a layer of Plastidip, which seals the foam and makes the paint look more good. But before I start applying the paints, I'm going to add these upholstery pin things to simulate the look of rivets. Plastidip won't stick to metal, which is why I'm putting them in now. Hopefully this will add to the old school industrial look that I'm going for and just give it more detail, which is always good. More detail is always good. Unless you're being questioned by the police, I guess. In that case, it's kind of just incriminating. Moving on. Now, I admittedly don't know much about science, but I do know that gauges are sometimes involved. So I printed out some pictures of them and cut some holes out to fit them into. I should have done that earlier, but I didn't know how I was going to do the gauges, and I didn't know what size the holes needed to be. You know, the muse descends when she chooses. But now I can finally paint everything, and I started by coating them all in metallic dark spray paint, which is kind of my go-to color for everything I do. Anyway, then I went in with some black acrylic to simulate a bit of grime and help make some of the different layers of the foam kind of pop out a bit more. Then I started dry brushing the lighter silver over some of the areas to hopefully simulate a worn and somewhat tarnished kind of look. Once the painting is done, I can finally add in the gauges. I may want to switch them out at some point in the future. You know, I might want to actually have some ones with needles that actually move. I'm not sure. So for now, I'm just going to tape them in so that they can be removed easily later. And to hold the levers in place, I drilled some holes through the back of them, stuck them through the slits, and ran a piece of steel wire through all of them. And this will give the levers the ability to pivot in case I want to change their positions from up to down. You know, it's always nice to have options, as every polyamorous individual already knows. Oh my. Then it's on to painting the other machines, but it's really just more of the same, you know, add layers to accentuate detail, make it look weathered. I'm really not much of a painter, which is why I don't have much to say about it. But I won't let that stop me from talking anyway. Oh, and speaking of things I'm not that great at, it's time to solder some wires to LED strips. I really need to get some new tips for my soldering iron, as you can surely tell, but, you know, we work with what we got, and we will achieve wonders. I painted the science ball off screen, so there's no proof that it ever happened, but now that it's done, we can put the light in and get our first look at how this bad boy is going to glow. And it glows good. I want the gauges to glow, so we'll put some in there. I'm putting it in the back of the box because if it's too close to the paper, it will create what's known as a hot spot that I find very unappealing. But from back there, I think that looks just right. Now the only problem with this is that it does cause a lot of light intrusion. But I'll just build a little box around the bottom of the gauge and the light, and it should block it all off and we'll be just fine. Also gotta add lights to the gauges up top. And I'm digging it. Very old and spooky. And you remember those plastic parts from earlier? Well, they're back. And I'm just gonna roll up some sheets of paper and stick them in there. That will diffuse the light from the LED strips and make it look nice and solid. Actually, that doesn't look good. Let me turn this light off. That's better. I don't know what this thing is or what it's supposed to do, but I take one look at it and I'm like, yep, that's science right there. And now to put the lights in the third one. And finally I painted some soda bottle caps and glued them on to simulate, like, knobs and dials or whatever. I've seen a lot of science stuff in my day and, like, you know, movies and whatnot, and a lot of things seem to have those on them. So I feel like they must be important, we're going to put them on there.
And with that, I think we can call this project done. I'm actually pretty happy with how these turned out. And hopefully you had a good time watching, and this gave you some ideas for some projects that you can make on your own for your independent film or Halloween or whatever you want to do. And always when I'm doing the outro. Well, I didn't expect to hear back from you so soon. Look, if you're having second thoughts about the foam, well, too bad.
It ain't about that.
Then what do you want?
First, I need to make sure we're on the same page. I did not call you. You understand?
No. Because you did.
This conversation never happened.
Yeah, I know, because you barely said anything.
Jesus Christ, what I'm about to tell you is a secret. Haven't you ever seen a crime movie? Don't you want to be a supervillain?
Okay, first off, I am a supervillain. And second, just say what you want to say, man, because it's not a movie.
Look, whatever, just shut up and listen. I have to warn you about something.
Okay, I'm listening.
I know who poisoned your roommate. The Hydra's breath. It's a dead giveaway.
Oh, that's great.
No, it's not. Yeah, you really don't know how bad this is.
God, Price, the suspense is killing me. Who did it?
The blade and marker.
Blade and marker? Why does that sound familiar? Oh yeah, those lame-ass villains of the week? I shot one in the heart. It's gross.
You what?
And then the other two ran like cowards.
Oh man, this is worse than I could have ever imagined. You really f***ed up here, TC.
You think I should have gunned them all down? Believe me, man, I would have, but these guys are wicked fast.
No, you shouldn't have killed any of them. These guys are part of an elite group of crafters like a secret society or a cult. They're obsessed with practicing what they call the true crafts and eliminate anyone who doesn't fall in line with their ways.
They did say something about eliminating me, yes.
Well, of course. You don't exactly meet the standards.
What do you mean? I sell handmade wands to witches, Price. Witches!
Witches. You ever hear the Illuminati?
Yeah.
Well, these guys made their furniture. It's handcrafted. Beautiful.
Yeah, it is pretty nice. I've broken into the Illuminati clubhouse before. I've seen it.
Then you know how out of your league these guys are. And you killed one. They're coming for you, and there ain't much you can do about it. They're well funded and they're everywhere. Except for maybe like Antarctica, you know, but who really goes there? Point is, you gotta lose my number yesterday.
What, seriously?
Look, I'm sorry, man, but I can't be doing business with someone on their radar. I wish it didn't have to end like this. I'd say good luck, but I know it won't do you much good. You've always been a good friend. I'm blocking you now.
Whoa, wait, no, Price. What, we might have a problem.